All right. How many of you guys are sick and tired of paying those high prices you do for college education? Well, me too, which is why I'm here today to talk to you guys about why colleges should lower their tuition prices. The rising tuition costs and the inflation being at an all-time high is a burden put on almost everyone's plates, especially those of minority families, because they automatically start off with a less amount of money than those of higher income, which places them in a serious amount of debt, as well as it continues to enable the cycle of poverty. I have three main topics I'm going to talk to you guys about today, and the first one is inflation. Inflation automatically puts a major disadvantage on those families of low income. According to State of Higher Education, over the last 20 years, colleges of 4 years, our tuition prices are already increasing past the median, which means their prices to attend that college are rising so fast, even faster than the average salary per year, which makes attending their college so difficult, which is not fair to those automatically put in a disadvantage from the start. Second point is, according to Davidson Anders, every student has the goal to graduate. I mean, obviously that's why we're paying to go. But anyways, some of those students aren't going to be able to finish all the way to graduation because they don't have enough money to set them all the way through. Especially when the inflation is rising, they might not even have the chance to go at all, which is so unfair because everyone deserves a chance to go to college and to have a chance to achieve a well-paying job to help them get out of debt and maybe help their family members later on in the future not have to go through what they're going through right now. My last point for this topic is from Tuition Woes. Over 150% of the minority family salary is put towards paying for college education, which means their salary isn't even enough to get them to go to college. Whereas high-income families are only paying 14% of their salary. That's a major difference, which just shows how much help they're going to need in the long run, and how by the inflation raising our tuition price, it's just pushing away these low-income families and kind of not helping them out very much. Not that our scholarships won't, but it's ultimately not going to be enough with the way these prices are rising. Moving on to my second point, post-secondary education is becoming a requirement in the job field. Otherwise, you may not be able to get a job. According to Taylor Kelly, she states in the Pioneer Institution that 2/3 of students without a high school diploma are unable to get a job, let alone their annual income is less than $25,000, which college education or tuition is already above $25,000, so it's not even going to be able to pay for them to go to college, which is crazy to think about. Which leads me to my next point, stated by Insight and Diversity. 2/3 of those jobs are requiring college students. They need them to have a college education. Can't only have a high school diploma. Which is why rising in these tuition prices, again, is making a major disadvantage for these low-income students, because without the chance to achieve this secondary education, they won't have the same chance at achieving a well-paying job, getting them out of debt, helping them in their future. My third point is on debt. These minority families and students who have to pay for college on their own automatically start with less amount of money. So by taking out a loan and pay, so they can pay for college, places them even further in the hole, leading them into even more debt, more and more debt. They just don't have a lot of money. According to State of Higher Education again, they state that rising tuition prices is automatically creating a disadvantage to those, not allowing them not to be able to afford college or have the same accessibility, because they have so much debt and they can't pay it. They can't pay it off. The amount of debt they're going to get from student, they can't pay it from this college. They can't pay it off. Which ultimately leads me to say that there's going to be two classes left, high class and a low class. And with colleges being aware of this, they're going to be able to continue to raise their prices because they're thinking, oh, these high-income families, there's more of them. They're going to be able to pay for it, whereas that's just going to push these low minority families right out the door and not even give them the same opportunity. Secondly, according to Bromley, debt has passed over 1.5 trillion in the US, stating that the loans given out they can't give out as many of them, which means these low-income families that rely on loans so they can achieve a college education don't have that anymore. They're like left to the dirt almost, like left to the dust. They have nothing to really help them get there anymore because they're not going to be able, like I said before, they might be able to pay for a little bit of college, but they can't graduate, which isn't going to help them in that job field, achieving that job field so they can pay off their debt. And last but not least, according to Student Loan, over 70% of the colleges, once they leave student, are in debt, which is crazy to think that only 30% of your college population doesn't have debt in the long run. And a lot of the debt that they're left with is over that minority family salary of $25,000, which is scary to think about. Today, I have talked to you guys about the inflation and how it is pushing minority families out the door and having that high tuition price not being the affordability for them to go to college. Secondly, I've talked to you about how jobs outside of college are requiring a secondary education. No more high school diplomas, so they need that in order to get them out of debt. Lastly, I've talked to you guys about debt and how debt really places a burden on those low minority families. Ultimately, I think colleges should lower their tuition price because considering all those factors, it's making it unequal and less accessible for those families to achieve the secondary education that everyone deserves.